You're killing me, Smalls.
We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS shipping packages. I'm smoking weed out them packages. If I ain't got a gun, I'm stabbing it. I got some leftover lean in the cabinet. I can hit your little hoe when she happy. Poke on that pussy shit like it's a top in it. We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS doing the packaging. I'm smoking good ass weed out them packages. I can't lie, 'cause I ain't capping it.
Welcome back to the DNA podcast. It's your boy D.
It's your boy Antonio. Let's get to it.
This is episode 2 of our 5-part remix series on our path to 100, road to 100. Yeah, go ahead and take
All
it.
right, so we're gonna go back in time to episode, I don't know the number, where the topic was morality.
Guess we should have had that.
Yeah, we should have had that. But whatever. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about morals, right and wrong, and in that topic we talked about
Socialism,
communism, capitalism, all those kinds of isms, and I guess we're gonna give our updated views on all those.
Spoiler alert, ain't shit changed.
Mine has changed a little bit, actually, just a slight bit.
Mine became a little bit more jaded. When I tell you a little bit, still believe in what I want to, but it gets a little darker towards at the last 1%.
All right, so like we usually do, we're gonna start off light and build up till the end. So, do you believe in a right or wrong?
I adamantly don't believe in it. Being American makes me more sure of myself that I do not believe in right or wrong. Americans now are standing up against, oh, war is bad, whoop-de-whoop this, whoop-de-whoop that. But just a few years ago when we was ready to go take niggas shits, they stood on just like it was when it's good for us, it's good for us. But when it's bad for us, it's bad for us. And in every action of life, every thing that you do when you come in contact with people, there's always a winner and a loser. There's not a time where there's two winners. Even when you think that, oh, I gave him something, I want something is always better in the end. So something is always good and something's always bad, regardless whether we bartered, whether we exchanged ideas, whether you got promoted and I did this. There's always a bad, regardless if you want to look at it. So there's no real such thing as good or bad.
Okay. I think good or bad, like, right or wrong as a large concept is fundamentally, doesn't exist. But I think there's fundamental simple things that are good and bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you see somebody on the side of the road and they have a flat tire and they don't know how to change their tire, you help them change their tire. That's fundamentally good. There's no wrong in you helping them change their tire. If you kill someone, like commit murder, you kill them for no reason. There's no good in that. So I think there's things that are fundamentally good and bad. Now, where it breaks down is when you try to apply those things to a society, and when they're manipulated. Because I think there's good and bad things about human nature. You know what I'm saying? Humans are naturally more tribal. Like we ride with your gang, one way or the other. You Democrat, you Republican, are you black, are you white? You typically ride with your gang.
Yeah.
Whoever makes you feel like you're part of their tribe, that's who you're gonna ride with. And that's an innate part of human nature. And that it can be good. A lot of good things can come out of that, but a lot of evil can come out of that.
So it cancels it.
I'm just saying, but the compassion exists. Just doing good for your fellow neighbor exists. And you get nothing out of that, realistically.
You do, but when the human nature element kicks in, and this is what I hate, and I am a martyr at work, and so I'm gonna put that out. That'll be the end result. But you always expect something in return, and I hate when people say they don't, because maybe, oh yeah, I did this, and I don't expect for you to do the same thing in reverse. But if you're in a pinch, and you need somebody, or they see you or whatever, the expectations for them to help them. And I've seen it too many times. Even you who's hearing this thinks, oh yeah, I'm a great person. I've seen the best people. He didn't help me. He forgot when I baked them cupcakes before. Wow, that was pretty selfish of you to bring that up in this moment. I mean, I'm not mad at it because I don't give a damn. Everything I do in this world, I expect to get it back on the back end. Every little thing. Even if I watch a kid for a day, I'm going to get mines in the back end. I tell people that up front.
But is that necessarily evil?
Some people do. Some people see it that way because I'm not doing it at the kindness of my heart, which I'm not.
Well, but I don't think that's what the definition of evil is. See, and I think that's where there's a gray area. That's to me. How I see life, everything in life is an exchange. It's very much full metal alchemist. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Equivalent exchange. Now, technically, it does not have to be equivalent, because I can always rip you off.
And that's my huge part in whenever I'm doing something. I'm gonna get it back in the back end. What does that mean? You could ask me for something else. I'm gonna chalk that up to the back end. But just know when I ask for my thing, just know that if you ask me for 5 things periodically through the year, I have no problem asking you for 5 things back to back to back to back, because those are my back ends. That's what I'm owed. That's
I don't think that's necessarily wrong. I don't think that's necessarily evil.
Okay, so this is where I can kind of see the bad part in me. At work, I'm the martyr because I don't help people. I don't go out my way to help. Why don't you do that? Because I don't expect it on the back end. But what if they do? I'm not going to ask. And this is where if you ask, I'm not going to ask. Not only will I'm not going to ask for help because I'm not willing to give the help. I'm okay staying at 0 because I don't want to stay an hour later with you. And when I stay later, I don't want to see your ass with me either. So I'm perfectly good in my box of not helping you for shit. Even when I see that you need help, no, I'm not filling up to it. But I'm the bad guy because you see that they needed help. I want my job. It ain't what I put pen to paper to. And in my job description, it wasn't being a good person. Being a kind human being is not part of my job description. I don't do this applied shit that people shit. If it's applied, nigga should be driving the truck too. Since it's applied that I should be helping when I can. No, I tell one job that I hated so much, they asked me to smile more. If you want niggas to smile, put it in the job description. You did not put smiling in there, so I'm fucking not.
My job has that in the job description.
Yeah, it's because of niggas like
you have to be pleasant to the customer.
I have if I didn't want to smile, my dumb ass shouldn't have signed on to do. I'm a stickler. I've read every job description I've had from top to bottom. I know some jobs they haven't asked me to do part of my job because I think they forgot. I know what is and what isn't. And when I tell you no, it's not my job. You can't fire me because it's not my job. Or my Compass one is a great example. My boss told me, kind of under the table deal, yeah, sometimes we may help catering. I mean, I shook my head. I gave him a false sense of hope. Hey, that shit ain't on the paper. And what I signed off on, we can talk about a lot of stuff in theory. I don't give it. I can tell you I'm gonna donate 25% of my paycheck every time. That bitch ain't in writing. It sound good.
It isn't right, they record your shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've grown to understand why that is a jackass point of view, but I know in my heart of hearts in the back end, they wouldn't help me. I would be getting screwed, and that would flip the terms of good and bad. I helped you. That made me the good person. It makes you the bad person now. But so We're just neutral. You look at me as an ass, I look at you as a nobody. We're neutral. Like, there's no good or bad in the situation.
Yeah, but okay. All right. If everything is an exchange, right?
Yeah.
And we agree on that point.
Yeah.
Everything in life is an exchange. Everything costs you something. It could be love. It'll cost you time. Or energy. Whatever.
Yeah. I'm huge on that time.
It could be... It can cost you money. It can cost you mental capacity. Anything. Everything's an exchange. And there's this theory that every crime or wrong that you can do in this life is just theft. Like, if you kill somebody, you stole their life.
Yeah.
If you rape somebody, you stole their innocence.
If you abduct them, you're stealing their time.
You steal their time or their freedom. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Fraud, stealing money, whatever.
Stealing money.
Yeah, but like fraud's elaborate of stealing money. So, do you think that applies to what you were just talking about? Where by you you expect something in the back end and you getting shorted.
Yeah.
It's theft. So we can agree that theft is the evil.
100%. Yeah.
So would giving be the good? Just by logic.
In a vacuum, I guess.
Yeah. I'm just going big concepts.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, without any scenarios playing out, just the concept, yes.
I don't know. I have definitely given out of the kindness of my heart before and didn't expect anything back.
I've said that out loud, but I knew I was expecting something back. But I'm a manipulator. I have no problem saying it now.
Maybe you're the bad guy. Billie Eilish. God damn.
And I mean, like, so that is easy. I literally said this at work. It was so I know what I said. I'm trying to think of the exact moment. It was the catering manager. And I think I may be making this part up, but I think I refused to do catering one day. And it was something my cousin was applying, and we was looking up the job description, or like the company website was bullshit, and so for some odd reason we had the job description up and we was going over it. Mm-hmm. And so the catering manager pretty much said, "Oh yeah, you don't have to help with catering." And I told him, yes, I did that out the little bit of warmth in my cold heart. Helping y'all. And I looked at him, and he knew if by every intent, by our eyes locking, I mean it 100%. And I've told him before, cross my heart and hope to die. My exact thing I used to say to him when I used to help. D, thanks for helping. Don't mention it now.
Don't mention it now.
Don't mention it now. I'm gonna need you to mention it 2 months from now when I ask of something. Your thank you means nothing to me. It's worthless to me because I've given time and effort. When 2 months, when I ask for that time and effort off, or in this or that, mention it then. Mention me helping you now. Then, niggas don't do that. They're like, this is that niggas think thank you is justifiable for any amount of work. Thanks. No.
Especially work that I'm not assigned to do.
Like, niggas think, oh, I really appreciate it. Don't give a damn. Show me that you appreciate it.
And I don't fundamentally disagree with what you're saying, but I think there's scenarios where, like, the car side of the road, or when you give a homeless person food or money or whatever, there is no way this homeless person is going to help you.
That's true. But with your car and the homeless thing where you have to go so far out the box. But just like with my variable before, if your car broke down and you saw the nigga that you helped before just drive past with it's going to come back and dawn on you. I shouldn't have helped you, you son of a bitch. Which, and that's every human. I doubt any nigga that's ever thought, oh man, he drove past me. Still glad I helped him though. No niggas ever thought that. So it corrupts the good deed retrospectively, I guess, retroactively, because you immediately thought I shouldn't have done it. Now I know I shouldn't have done that shit. The act of a good deed means it should just be good, right? Like it shouldn't have no strings attached, right? The string is attached that you expected if it was you. It's an unwritten rule of you expecting it on the back end. I'm just man enough to tell you, I'm gonna get this back right. That turns some people off. It surprises me. It's weird that you ask me for something but get turned off when I tell you I'm gonna ask for a favor in return. And from my perspective, I think that's the weirdest shit. How do you have the audacity to ask something from somebody when they willfully tell you that this is an arrangement? Like, I'm pretty much telling you a contract. And it's like, I'm not getting over. I'm going to request your services later down the road, but you get turned off by it. I'm the bad guy. Like, I think that's like the goofiest thing to me. Because that's telling me, you just wanted me to do this for the fuck of it. Is that not what you basically hear? And I'm not mad at any situation because everything changes. Hence, this is weird how my mind went to this. O.J. Simpson on top of the world, this and that. He killed his wife. He's down. He's down low again. Somebody can do something to O.J. Simpson that brings him back up. Now, it has to be something drastic with the stuff that he's did, but time and situations change how you flip about people. So it's just about what's going on there. The good could always be bad later on. The bad could always be good later on. How many comics and animes have we seen the good guy and the bad guy link up? Because there's a bigger bad. So, shit, bro, you done killed all my... Dragon Ball Z, great example. Frieza done wiped them niggas out, then killed... Frieza's literally the bane of the Saiyan's existence. But we actually have to put all that together. We actually have to put all that to the side. Because we won't even... There won't be none of this. So it's like...
It doesn't help that it's Goku's fault.
And it's just like, they ended up forgiving Frieza for literally... all the shit he deserved to be in hell for. They let him live and get by because he did a good deed in the tournament, and that put him on a higher pedestal more than killing Krillin, killing all these Namekians, killing all the Saiyans. All that's washed because you helped us save the universe. You're a good guy now. That's human nature. It's just about what's up next. Frieza's gonna fuck it up again.
I think that's more about someone being redeemable. Even the idea of that story is that trope is that no one is too far gone without being redeemable. They can redeem themselves. Now, I don't subscribe to that school of thought.
Me neither.
But
because just the next movie, that nigga tried to kill him again. The niggas was blindsided. I can't believe he did this. Bro, he tried to kill y'all 2 months earlier. You forgot that when he came back.
But
by every circumstance, he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
But the mutual interest made him a good guy. But technically, he's still doing his own selfish desire. But it's linking up. Our motives have crossed paths. If that makes sense. Frieza, I guess by all technicality, was never a good guy. Even when he was helping them win, he wasn't.
He was in his own interest.
Yeah. So it's just like, yeah.
And is Goku even the good guy?
At
least in Super.
They've proven time and time again why Goku isn't. Where the series should have ended, the Cell Saga. When Goku brought up the thing that, I think I'm the magnet that brings everybody. And he was just like, and it was this real deep thought. The Red Ribbon Army, Demon King Piccolo, Raditz coming, the Saiyans, having to fight Frieza coming, Cell taking. That's all because of me. Goku did nothing wrong.
He just existed.
Is he not the bad guy though? Wait, is he not the greater antagonist that can never be beat, if that makes sense? And I know that's the most fucked up thing to ever. I don't even know if there's a term for that. But he's the reason why the plot keeps moving forward. It doesn't matter how many of them that he beats. Oh, that was also his main thing. It doesn't matter how many times we beat them, a stronger foe always keeps coming for me.
It's very important.
And Goku's the epitome of there's no such thing as good and bad. Because up into the Cell Saga, specifically, Goku did nothing wrong. You can't sit here and tell me that he willfully did this stuff. But by
him existing.
Yeah, just by his mere existence caused this stuff to happen. That's literally the definition of there's no good or bad. Because you cancel each other out, basically. Goku's canceling out the mess that his existence is making. It's fucked up. This is one of the higher level things that I tell people all the time. Being smart is kind of like the worst thing ever. And people hear that, that's the stupidest thing. When you think of stuff like that, it's just like, is there even a reason worth trying, basically, anymore? Like, of course you make your own reasons as humans, but just based off of, like, Goku's logic. If that ever really hit him for real, and it's been backed time and time again through the Buu saga, because, well, in the timeline that Goku's not there, Trunks finishes them all off. That's when none of them is there, but Goku comes back and kind of jumpstarts all that. He makes them enter the tournament where they find Gohan can go Super Saiyan, but Trunks just obliterated all of them in his own timeline. Like that's a fact. Then we go through all the stuff in Super, so it's like it's been proven that Goku causes the stuff, and it's just. I just don't know. It just if Goku was to take a step back, he'll probably just think it's no reason for me to even be here anymore. Like I'm actually just causing y'all harm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what it is.
I think the issue is that Goku's just saying he likes to fight.
It doesn't help that he likes all
likes
that is happening.
Yeah. It's sad that y'all are dying.
Yeah.
But this nigga got hands.
And it's like. We picked a fake excuse and people gonna be like, that's just anime. But there's real world stuff like that happens where it's just sometimes it's not ever gonna end. Or it's what the fuck did Thanos say? I am impeccable. I am
inevitable.
And it's inevitable. Sometimes it just wears you. Sometimes it makes you just not care. If it's gonna happen, what's the point of trying? Fun fact, that's why all the smart people being depressed is a trope. Rick, Huey, pretty much smart people always depressed and everything. That's the trope in everything. They're drunk because basically.
You get away, escape your reality.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I don't disagree with anything you said, really. But
But with all that stuff, that's what knowing that that's how it is, I feel like you can use any word you want. I feel like that makes me meta or super sane. Knowing that makes it easier for me kind of to live life, just for the fact that if I know that any decision I make is going to be bad to somebody else, I shouldn't let the idea of others affect my decision, if that makes sense. Because like some people will be like, something, I want to do this for my family or this and that. Bro, you could do that and hurt your family. I.e. people who get famous and don't have time to be around their family, this or that, that hurts them just as much. But you're providing them riches that they never would have had, but you're not with them ever. Yeah. So it's just like...
True.
Sometimes I think as humans, if you just did what made you happy, and like... what makes you really happy? Don't do that fake shit. Don't do the, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this to provide for my family, or I'm gonna raise a family of my own because my dad won't there. Do what makes you genuinely happy.
Maybe you don't like fucking kids.
Don't
put these poor unborn children do that shit.
It's been proven that people do that, and like you neglect the kids because you just end up not wanting them, but you didn't want them from the get-go. You just did because society told you.
You need it.
Yeah.
You gotta have kids. You gotta have a family.
Just do what makes you happy, and I feel like the world would be a semi-better place because some people are fucking crazy. What will make them happy is killing people.
There's always a bad apple in the bunch.
But Like, I feel like that's the truth. We do too much based off of what people want to see.
Yeah.
And then you get trapped in that. It doesn't make you end up realizing that doesn't really make you happy because you didn't focus on what makes you happy. You focused on what made the majority happy or what they thought. For me, deep down, I just want to play games for the rest of my life. I just want to go to an apartment where I live at by myself and play games and not have to worry about money. It does not matter how much money. I could be the richest nigga in the world. I could be the poorest nigga in the world, and nobody's paying and nobody's worrying about my shit. I just want to be able to live my normal life, play games, and be able just to get away from people for the rest of my life. I'm working all these long ass hours and draining myself just so that I can get to the point of doing that simple task. That is what would make me happy. Everybody's going to throw out, what about your family? What about going on trips? Those are accessories. Those are extensions. That stuff will not make me happy by itself. The basis of my happiness is being able just to go home and play games whenever I want and just chill. Now, does my chill might involve hang out with friends? Yeah. Does my chill might involve going on vacation? Yeah. But that's the basis. That's in my heart of hearts.
That's what will make you the happiest.
Will make me the happiest.
Okay.
And
I think I have a super meta concept to throw out. Do you think that maybe society itself is the evil? Because that's the conclusion I just came to my head while we were having that conversation right then.
Explain it. Explain what you mean.
So the concepts and cultures and expectations that are formed from society, do you think that is the evil in the world?
I believe so. To
and is it a necessary evil?
I would say 70-30. Because when you create expectations, you create a divide. And so if the expectation, let's take college. The expectation is to go to college and to be successful. Some people just aren't book smart. Some people just don't want to go to college.
Some people just don't like school.
So that already creates a divide between, I guess, smart and dumb, I'm going to say. That's not exactly what it is, but when I create other divides, it makes sense. Then you got people who want to go to college. And like, you take the smart people, you got people who want but can't do financially. Yeah. So that creates a divide of poor and wealthy. Mm-hmm. And so basically in the end, it'd be a certain group of people who achieve this goal that society has dictated what makes you successful, and the others are just
living.
Yeah. When that's one goal that's not the end all be all. Mm-hmm. You could have done other stuff, but since as a society we said it was true, because like it's kind of like currency. It's funny how some people value money, bro. Tomorrow we can say fucking apples is worth $1 million. I mean, like
if we all agree to that, yeah. This like, Granny Smith right here.
That's just the God's honest truth, because it's society we dictated. So that's the good and bad. We can tell that there is a good life. We can show that there is a good life, or that there's better, if that makes sense in society. But showing better limits options. Just
in a way.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of think it's a necessary evil in a weird way. Because like society has its pluses. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Without society, we all would be cavemen, and we wouldn't even be in tribes of people. We would just be. You might be you and the whatever cave woman you were fucking, or caveman. It's 2022. You know what I'm saying? You would just be at most 2 deep.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a necessary evil society, because without it, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we're at now.
Yeah.
But with it, there's a lot of stress and anxiety that comes along with that. So, I think the solution and what true good is making the society a better place. If that makes sense. Like changing the norms of, hey, to be successful, you have to go to school. You have to be a millionaire. You have to do this. You have to do that. And if you don't get that, you're not good enough. Changing that norm, changing that talking point of that is the true good in the world. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I always thought society needed to change in general, and that is true.
I think society there's a breaking point that we're at right now.
I think the problem also we arise to is that there's always an expiration date on stuff. Like food, there's life on expiration dates. There's an expiration date on the society that we made. We made this society hundreds of years ago. Has it been thousands?
Which one are you talking about?
Yeah.
America?
Yeah.
Or are we talking about... I mean, America's been 400 years.
I'm gonna go with America just in general because, like, maybe the fucking Constitution needs to be updated. Like, that's just... And people are abusing their freedoms in a way that just wasn't available then. Like, that's just...
And that's a funny story about the Constitution. When they first wrote that thing, they thought it needed to be ripped up and rewritten every 50 years.
Hell, and they did rip up the first one, called the Articles of the Confederation. They did rip that bitch up because they realized it was god awful.
This is a little shaky.
Yeah. And so, like, it's one of those things that in a vacuum, Constitution, the Declaration of Independence is solid. In a vacuum, I mean, like...
Yeah. If everything was completely followed in the Constitution and applied evenly and fairly...
Yeah, no problem.
It wouldn't be a problem.
But it's just the implementation of how humans in the society and the power structure and just our society is influenced those laws and whatever, and
because it's all interpretation. Is it interpret through the lens of society that we've built? You know what I'm saying?
And I don't believe that rules or laws should be open for interpretation. The point of rules and laws has to be followed. It shouldn't be up to, well, I think it means this, but I'm gonna do that because it says this. That's not a law. That's not a rule. That's a thought. That's a theory.
Okay.
It shouldn't be.
But do you think, wouldn't that breed a stagnation in the progression of a society, though? Because, like, if you say, because they could, at one point, women voting was against the law.
Was it in the Constitution?
Practically. They had to add an amendment.
Oh, they did add an amendment. Yeah.
They had to put that bitch in there.
Yeah. And to my point, everything has expiration dates. All because we did it, and all because we have this. I feel like it should be voted. Basically, I feel like it should be voted on every, X amount of years.
And I think it should be reworked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, this part was good. This part gave us some trouble.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Because, you do not want it. You do not want the government to suppress anybody. But freedom of speech has gotten outrageous because people feel they can say whatever about whoever and do whatever as long as you don't physically attack somebody. But
there's limits to that. You can't threaten violence.
White people be getting away with a bunch of shit. Them KKK niggas be fucking riding. They're like, they be riding.
It's not applied evenly. But technically, like if I said, D, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and the police were right there,
yeah,
that would be communicating a threat, and that's against the law.
Yeah. And so
they're technically there are limits and restrictions to, and also there's libel laws where if I can't technically lie about you.
Yeah.
But libel's very hard to prove in court. So,
and then there needs to be clear punishments is important too. That's also the problem that we give the states, and like that precedent shit is bullshit because we've seen too many times where they go off precedent and some considerations of white kid raped somebody but got off. But then black kid did, he got 30 years when the precedent was 25. But you just wanted to set new precedent. We need a real, like, if you
it should be applied evenly.
Because there's real punishments, it's automatically going to be applied evenly.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, the punishment should be set in stone.
Yeah.
Hey, you're going to get between 10 and 15, depending on how heinous your crime was.
Yeah.
Boom.
And I'm about to say, so even if you disagree with me that there needs to be a set in stone rules, nobody can deny there should be set in stone laws. There should be X amount of years. We should be able to agree right now. I don't know how long, not right now, but however long it takes. If you murder somebody, you get X amount of years. And then if murder plus, you get, boop, boop, like, you get X tacked on. That should be that same for, boop, boop, boop. If we want the death penalty, we'll decide that. If we don't, like, it's bullshit that some states, a nigga do something not as bad as a nigga in another state. But his state set precedent of death penalty, he's gone. But buddy over there got 50 years, 50, 60 years, but he's not gone. Like, that's so backwards ass to me that doesn't make sense. That's a clear divide in punishment. And so there should be set rules. And to not set rules, set punishment, but to my set rules, brother, can we agree that most things come from Christianity, like most other religions? Not all, but most.
Well, most of them come from Judaism. Well, and it's just the big three, really, like Islam, Judaism itself, and Christianity, or Judeo-Christian or Judeo religions.
Most
Abrahamic religions is the word.
Most of their rules, and for this sake, because I know it's the commandments, their rules easily followable. Like, they're easy to follow. I don't see the problem in it. Like, they're set, respect thou father and mother, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt treat others such. Like, those are followable rules. Like, that's not bullshit. And there's intertwining ones in the in Islam, and Judaism is where it came from. There are set rules. Mm-hmm. Like, these are, bro, if you do that, you're going to hell. Like, there is no oh, if I broke one, I might. No, you're going to hell if you break this. And that's that. And there is no defining those commandments in your own way. Did you do it or did you not? There is no, see, I did.
Well, and that's if they're applied evilly by society. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't worried about society. I'm worried about the guy up top.
I'm saying the guy up top can punish you at the end, right?
Yeah.
But you may be punished on earth by some people down here, right?
Yeah.
You might people on earth might let you slide on some stuff because you gave them some money to the church.
Yeah.
You good to go, my guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Niggas get on my nerves.
So, while they would have burned the witch in the corner because she was giving out people medicine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She did nothing wrong, really.
Yeah.
But he got 14 baby mamas and he ain't married to none of them.
Let that nigga slide, yeah, because he that nigga. And that's just what I'm. It's fucked
just
up.
Saying.
If that witch got set on fire, set that nigga on fire too.
I'm just saying.
I'm just equal opportunist. That's when I tell people when it comes to racism, I don't want to be treated as good as white people if y'all can't do it. I just want white people to get treated as bad as black people. That's all I want.
At least it's fair.
Yeah, that's all I want. Y'all don't need to prop us on a pedestal, but I want to see white people beat for no reason too. Goddamn it, that's what I want to see. Go to a Trump rally and beat their ass. That's all I want. I just want fairness, and that's where people get. This is where I throw people. I'm not asking. I just want fairness, and some people go up to the top and equal shit. I'll take equal shit with somebody. I'll take equal trash.
And I don't think that we want equity and results. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure we both believe in the harder you work, in a true meritocracy where if you put the work in, you get the work out, and it is what it is.
Yeah. We
want equality of opportunity. I want the chance to come here and work for you. I want the chance that a true opportunity to get the job and bid for the position.
Mm-hmm.
I want the chance to be able to buy a home in this neighborhood because the property values are better here and my kids can go to school there and this school system is better or whatever. Or they have a better tennis team. I don't fucking know. But I want the chance to do that and not be said, no, or whatever, we want to prove you for that loan, but really it's because I'm black, you don't want me in that community.
Mm-hmm.
We want the opportunity.
You feel me? I just want a fair shake. If I don't get a fair shake, I just want you not to get a fair shake either. Goddamn it!
But then it'll be a fair shake.
Yeah.
So either way, it's a fair shake.
So yeah, I don't know what this first point was. Oh yeah, good and bad.
Well,
it diverged.
The question I asked before this is society the
Yeah.
good and the bad, and is it necessary?
I like it. I don't have any questions for this.
Okay.
I did not come prepared whatsoever.
All right, so now we're going to switch over into world views and like economic systems. Do you think any economic systems are inherently bad, inherently good, or go for the top?
To save some time, because I still feel like communism is the best. And I'm only going based off of if everything is running at peak performance on both ends. I'm not talking about your Kim Jong-un communism. I'm talking like the best form of communism.
A true commune.
Yeah.
Communist society. Yes.
I still think it's the best. And I guess where I'm with, so I don't rehash the same arguments. I was talking to a white coworker, and I put emphasis on white. Never really met too many white people who don't like democracy. But I was telling him, in my communism, you're giving a car, you're giving a house, and you're giving food in stamp form, food stamps. Because I don't want to just give you food, because people might eat different stuff. But you work for everything else. You work for money to do everything else. So if you want to go to the movies, if you want to get new clothes, if you want to do pretty much anything outside of just going of just going home,
your
home.
Basic necessities are taken care of. And what you're describing is democratic socialism. Is what you're describing. That is what that is.
Yeah. Them niggas fucked it up. But wait. I want to get to so if you do that, and so his main part was, when people work, there won't be nothing on the shelves because people won't work because you've given them that stuff and they're just going to give up. I don't believe that.
No.
Maybe this is me having too much faith in humanity. Well, look at me having faith in humanity. If you knew that every time that you went to work, it was for something lavish, it was for something extra that would motivate you to go to work. The flip side is us going to work now and paying all the money for rent and having only like $200, $300 left over, when in mines, when all that's available, you work to make $200 and $300. For me,
and I can go splurge on some shit, not to worry about my shit.
For me, both is the same, but morale is horrible now than in mines because you did that on your own. You didn't have to do it, but people are still doing it,
and you would value it more in a weird way. Like, hey, and even on the front of if they provide you the house, right? Whatever, they provide you a place to live.
Yeah.
They can provide you the basic place to live. If you want a nicer place to live,
you work more.
Work more to get a nicer place to live.
And so
there's nothing wrong with that.
When my coworker was talking about it, I was like, no, people are not just going to settle for that when you can. People are going to go work 30-hour work weeks to get and $1,500 to go do.
Yeah, they're not going to work themselves to death. They're going to value their time. And also value this, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, some people will not work. Yes, because there's
people now who don't work. In the system that we live in now, there's people who are just lazy.
Yeah,
and that's a fact of life. Those people exist, and they're going to skim off the bottom.
And then on the flip side, there's some people who only find value in work. Yeah. You're going to have the people that work 90-hour work weeks still because that's the only thing that really gives their life meaning. Some people find meaning in work.
If that's how you spend your time. Do you, dog? But yeah, and I don't see nothing wrong. Even if we did, I think that is the nuclear button for like that is the most extreme that you could go without stepping into full on communism.
But I do think it's full on communism because I am regulating what you get from the government, but I'm not regulating how much you work.
No, full on communism is that the government controls everything about where you work, how long you work, everything.
I always thought, and like dead ass, I'm gonna look this up. I always thought that's just like literally the bad parts of communism.
No,
but I thought communism was just regulation of stuff.
Full on communism is like, but the idea is that you the person would have a say in what the government is doing. That's what communism would be in the perfect world. Because what you're describing is that you would be able to own a business. Okay,
so the back end is communism. Theory derived from Karl Marx, of course, also known as Marxism, which all property is publicly owned and each person works and paid accordingly to their abilities and needs. I've amped it up a step by giving you the opportunity to work on your own.
And this is my firm belief. Capitalism does not operate without socialism, communism.
Yeah,
it does. It devolves into basically anarchy, capitalism, and there's no rules, and people are just being used and abused, and the rich get rich and the poor get poorer, and the world falls apart. And pure socialism, communism, you get the Soviet Union, you get Red China, you get
North
Korea. You get these dictators that are, and it really how those communism systems set up and work is that it still works like capitalism, because there's a top echelon of people who live the best lives, and then there's people at the bottom.
This is where my viewpoint got jaded, and you always hit the mark. The problem is, and this goes with just thinking of stuff too hard. It doesn't matter. In the end, all forms of government ends up being the same. Democracy ends up being communism. Communism ends up being socialism. It at the end of the day, when it all ends, and I'm talking, this could be in 1,000,000 years, this could be in 1,000 years, it could be tomorrow. When it all ends, it's the same thing. You tried hard for it not to. You tried hard to have these ideals. It ends up being the same.
I disagree. No, I do think they are one and the same, as in they are two sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
They're yin and yang. Like, you can't have one without the other. And when you do, there's always an imbalance. You know what I'm saying? You have to have, and one's not necessarily bad. Like, being a business owner and, being a capitalist, that's really what that means, is being an owner of something, and, that's not inherently bad. But when you're a multinational corporation and you don't pay taxes to the government that you live in, and you are working your workers to death, and I'm saying that's when it becomes evil.
Yeah. For me, my true problem with capitalism, and this is from a guy from the bottom, from the very bottom, it pisses me off that people have so much money, hence Jeff Bezos. You have so much money that not only do you have so much, you don't know what to do with it. You just decided, let's go to the moon. Like, I'm just shitting money. There's people that don't even have enough to eat. But this guy has so much money. And I say it, but I want y'all to understand, it's ignorant wealth. It's so ignorant that it's just, he could burn probably $1 million a day and probably never have to worry about.
He would make it back.
Yeah, still would never have to worry about money. Like, it's that type of ignorant wealth, and that's why it's like when America's viewed as one of the richest, but we got a huge poor section that they're fucking up the average.
Yeah, it's the average. Yeah. But there's a weird fact about this was about Bill Gates, and I had learned this in like high school, so I'm pretty sure this all applies to Elon Musk and Bezos and all the motherfuckers, Zuckerberg too. if if Bill Gates dropped $100 bill, it would be less important to him to go pick up the $100 bill than just to keep walking. Because in the time it takes him to pick up the $100 bill, he made 3.
I was about to say, is that less support? It would cost him money to go back and get it.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
what
like,
it was. Yeah,
yeah. It was like the time he spent to go get it, he made 3.
And that's beyond
insane.
That's beyond ignorant wealth to me, and it's just.
And I think this is gonna be radical. I think there needs to be a cap on wealth. I think you have to have a system in place that, hey, you can make up to this much money, but after this much money, we can take some off the top.
And that's honest to God how I feel. And when people hear that, I don't think it's the government's right to tell me how much I could make. What if I put the cap at like 900 million? What if I put it directly at $1 billion? Well, what if that's the cap? Like most people ain't gonna make.
You cannot spend $1 billion in your lifetime. There's no way. It's actually physically impossible. Because even if you just put it in the bank account,
yeah,
your interest would keep you going.
And that's what I hate. Some people are too radical to the core. So my 2 coworkers, they're white, but it's funny. My boss, not my coworker, my actual boss, he's just a radical. He's been a radical since birth. And like all the stories he tells, he's just always leaned anti-government. And so anytime government gets involved, he's heavy on government shouldn't be able to tell us what to do. They should. Not to the extreme. I'm about to say not to the extreme, like they tell us everything to do, but it's the government's job to tell us what to like. That's kind of their.
But the problem is that he grew up in a world, in a government that does not listen to the people.
Yep.
It'd be one thing if the government actually worked for the masses.
True.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like his viewpoints would change. Not it's gonna take some time, but his viewpoints would change if the government actually worked for
the people,
the common man.
Yeah, which makes sense. And then the other one is so pro-democracy, like everything about him is pro-democracy, and like, hey, he faults America, but he says it to the point, shit, things are way better than what it could be otherwise. And
pro-democracy in what way? Is he pro-capitalism?
Yeah, like I know it's
that's
weird
not
to
really
say
democracy.
He's pro everything that America is right now.
He's just pro-American.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm about to say it is just like
he's a fucking hack.
And he took me off guard because he was like something. He was like, you know what? I've been reading some reports. It's overblown. People aren't really starving in America. You're fucking me, right? But he dead ass believe because like somehow these reports have indicated something. It's physically impossible for people to be starving in America. Yeah, when there's rich people, there shouldn't be. Like with the amount of rich people we have, it shouldn't be. But there's people I grew up with that were starving. There's people I knew who only ate at school, this or that. There's people I know directly who was. Yeah. And my neighborhood is not the worst neighborhood of all time. I know that.
There was poor places. And even like, and we're talking about like black places.
Yeah.
Even in white America. Even in West Virginia, those forgotten places in America, as they like to call themselves.
Yeah.
Even though we always pander to them when it's election time. Whatever. Even in those forgotten places, people are starving. People are living paycheck to paycheck or in between, that exists.
Yeah.
So
and for the fact that it was like, and I don't doubt that this was research because he does do research on stuff, but it's like, you can't be fucking serious. Like, you can't be shitting me that you think people are fake starving. Like, you think that that's really a thing?
They're all just on intermittent fasting. Like, it's just...
And that's... Democracy also... I'm going to say this about democracy and capitalism in general, but this applies to communism, hence it all turns out the same. Democracy always breeds... at the top, you get jaded. When you reach a certain status, and you be from the bottom, but once you work your way up to the top, your point of view gets skewed. You.
But this reminds me of that Tupac that Tupac interview when he was talking about people always like mine, and you never want to give back.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody tries to take any or ask you for anything, it's push away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I did not quote that right, but
Yeah, you got the point.
And I got the point through. But I think that's not a uniquely American thing, but it's a very American thing. Because you don't really see that as much in simpler places. You know what I'm saying?
Because they work together.
Yeah.
In other places. In America, it breeds it because this goes to my there's no such thing as good or bad. We breed working hard, getting to the top. I hate to break this to people. Every job you've ever gotten, you've took that from somebody else. And that's not a bad way. You took it. Every time a person won the Super Bowl, they took it from somebody else. Every time you won something, you took it from some. There's nothing you did out the expense of somebody else. And that's what America is built upon, winning at other people's expense. CM Punk, a wrestler, had this great quote. This is probably one of the best wrestling promos ever. When he was talking about John Cena. John Cena goes on these tirades of being the underdog, and they kind of Hulk Hogan him. He always fights through these impossible odds, come out on top. And CM Punk was a guy who's been told regularly by the higher ups, you're not going to make it. You're too skinny. You're not that good. People like you don't make it, this or that. So 3 years past that, he's pretty much at the peak of what it means to be a superstar. Like, he's at the top. And he told John Cena, he was like, something, you go on these tirades of being the underdog, but you and your beloved Red Sox always talk down on the Yankees, when at the end of the day, y'all have become what y'all hate. The Red Sox is a franchise. The Red Sox is the Yankees. John, you become the Yankees. You are what you hate. At the end of the day, the 16-time world champion is not the underdog. The underdog is me, who can't even get a shot at the title. And that's what America is. We love the underdog story, but we don't love being the underdog.
Yeah.
And that's this, and it's like, I did the promo no justice. I'm going to cut it in because it's like I never thought of that. I knew I didn't like John Cena at that point for some reason, but when he said it, that nigga is always talking about the odds are against him, but he keeps winning. How are the odds stacked against you if you on a fucking 100-win streak? Like, there is no odds stacked against you. You're the guy stacking the odds.
You're the top of the hill. And so if people are teaming up against you, it's because they're trying to get to where you're at.
And that's the God's honest truth. And when he said that, that's democracy. People at the top still feel like they're underdogs. And this is no slight, because everybody know I'm the biggest Kanye West fan. Kanye West is still trying to prove like he's that guy in 2005. I think 2003, still trying to portray this. Yeah, I'm just the guy that did 4 beats every day for a summer. No, you're not. You're the guy that with more Grammys than Michael Jackson. You're the guy that's such and such. You have these #1 albums.
You're not that guy no more.
Yeah, you're the machine. That's regardless if you sold out or not. You're the machine. Jay-Z's the machine. Justin Bieber's the machine. Michael Jackson became the machine. You're the machine now. You're not the plucky upstart. And that's just democracy. That's just what it is.
I think that comes down to I think that is a uniquely American / Western culture thing. And when I say Western culture, that includes China, because they're on the same wave.
Western culture, yeah.
They're on the same wave. But it's a uniquely Western thing, and it's like, and when you do that, you don't follow your dreams, if that makes sense, and that all relates back to what we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Society and just following your shit and doing what makes you happy. And but the point I was going to make is that this has been a great episode, and I think that we have talked about some different stuff. We got pretty deep in this hoe, and
I feel like personally, back to back, these have been like two of our strongest episodes.
yeah, I think these are the two most like thinky episodes we've had in a while, like deep thought.
And this is coming from dumbasses. We had to scroll up and down the damn podcast thing. Bro, we done this before. I don't want to do that again. Bro, do you have something to talk about? And then you have something to talk about with this.
I mean, I'm gonna be straight with you. All these questions I proposed today were off the top of the head. I did not think of these beforehand.
It's worse because, like, I've thought of other I think of morality stuff every day. Mm-hmm. I think of conspiracy stuff every day. My natural thought process are great podcast questions, but I go through the thought process on my own, exhaust myself, put myself to sleep, and then I end up forgetting everything that's actually been said to me.
Yeah.
But until like it jogs it. Oh yeah, I've thought about this before. When people's like, "What you mean you've thought about it before?"
I've ran through this process in my head.
Yeah.
I think that's just a part of being a thinker. Is, and you know, I don't think I'm the smartest person on the planet. I don't think I'm fucking Einstein, but I do think I got a pretty strong one up top. I can think through a lot of logical shit, and but I think that's just part of being a thinker, being a smart person. It's like you propose these theories in your head at all times, and it can kind of be tiring.
And it's weird because all that's true, and my gift and curse is I'm intuitive, and that's all it is. Like everything I do is just intuition, based off of how I'm able to predict what people do. And some people, how do you know I was going to do that? I've kind of talked to you long enough, which is 15 minutes for me. Looked into your eyes. I've gotten an idea. So I've kind of predicted what I think that you as a person would do, and I moved accordingly to make it seem like that I thought. Well, I guess that is deep think, but I've just used intuition about you, and that's why it's tiring to me, because at the end of the day, if you just treated people how you would want to be treated, there would be less war, there would be less backstabbing, less this or that. And it's like, oh, it's easier said that yes, if you stopped screwing over people just because you can, or because you know that you've been screwed before by somebody else,
it's gonna give me this little leg up.
And that's just like that's literally everything. Our favorite heroes. Think about an anime. If the villains realize, bro, what am I doing this for? Not much of anime anymore, is it? It ain't much. Comic book heroes. If there's no real villain, them niggas are just playing trick or treat. They just Halloween ass niggas in costumes not doing shit. And it's funny how simple of a concept that is. And my closing statement is I use Black Lives Matter as an example, because black people can get together and say Black Lives Matter, but next day, pretty sure somebody's killed a black guy over nothing, like over probably the dumbest thing, and it's just like it only matters when it matters. It only matters when it matters, and so it's just defeated. And part of me, it's easy to be defeated. I tell people all the time I feel like there's different versions of me, because part of me still feel like the plucky young guy. Sometimes I try to make a difference, but then other times that I just can't express it. It's just I'm just exhausted. I go through life. It's easy for me not to care. It's easy for me not to speak. It's easy for me not to do anything to shake up the norm, because I know that nothing I do is really making a difference whatsoever.
I'm pushed back against you making a difference argument. There's this young lady that works in my job, and she comes in there every day and she gives 110%. Some days 90. To be fair, some days 90. But if I ask her to do something, she's going to do it. If I tell her I want it done like this, it's going to get done like that. If I say we're not going to do it like that, she's not going to do it like that. So I have made it my mission to make her the best cook/chef I can possibly make her in the time that I have left with her. And I expect nothing out of it. Like, truly, to my core, I expect nothing. I expect her to keep doing what she's doing now. You know, keep being herself. And I guess that's what I expect out of it, maybe. But I want to invest in her and grow her to be as strong as she can possibly be. Simply because she's shown me you have the most potential out of everybody in here. And you want it. Because I was willing to give it to everybody in there.
Yeah.
But they didn't want it.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds great. Have you ever thought of this? And this is me being from my dating perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The other people resent her when you're gone and bring her down just because that you saw so much in her.
I see her leaving.
Well, I'm good with that too. I'm about to say just like your good deed is backfired on her dramatically because
it is not that I haven't offered it to them.
Yeah, true, but it just didn't change.
I'm still offering it to them.
Yeah.
So, if they feel that way, that is of their own volition.
Yeah, and that's what humans are in general.
Yeah,
and that's why my actual closing statement. You're doomed. Yeah, you're doomed eventually, regardless of how long it takes. Humans are gonna human it up. That's just the end result is doomed. And so, I'm going to. My boss posed a weird question. He was like, "What would you do if you knew a nuke was dropping tomorrow? Was nothing you could do?" I would just play as much games as I could. Really, this is anticlimactic. There's nothing I can do, and I know there's nothing I can do. I might as well enjoy my last final moments as I can.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Like I could cry and I could bitch about it, but that's going to be a waste of.
That's gonna be 30 minutes of my life I can't get back.
And I'm talking like, I think he meant just like a full 24 hours at a time. It's just and that's just how I look at it. So I feel like you're doomed. And I feel like people should take me saying that, take it however you want. If you feel like you're doomed and it doesn't matter, go live your life for you. Go be happy. If the outcome doesn't matter, and this is why I think it's all about how you interpret that. If the outcome does not matter, go do what makes you happy. Don't do what others want to make you happy. But if there's going to be people that hear that, if the outcome doesn't matter, why try? I completely understand that too.
Yeah, and that's a logical conclusion to come to.
And that's the most that I can give anybody that just, even if you don't believe it, keep that thought in your mind that life is worthless and this is worthless. Keep that in your mind to let you know your next decision. This is really what I want to do. Do I want to work a job for 40 years at a job I don't like because it makes a lot of money? If life is worthless and you're thinking that,
wouldn't that make your life even more worthless?
Yeah. I feel like in you'll really know that, no, I don't. This is not what I'm going to do. This isn't what I want to.
I always wanted to be a painter.
Yeah, like that. Go do that. And so I even say it's a jaded point of view, but I think it's freeing. It's freeing to know that I can do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm. I can be whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. And on that note, thank you for watching the DNA podcast.
Please be sure to subscribe, like, and comment for more weekly episodes like this.
And we're out.